Varon takes home a big payday courtesy of Super CD. The Wild Child sets a torrid pace at the Valley of Speed. Can anybody beat Billy Dunn at Can-Am? Hey, we good? All right, we're good. Race Pro Weekly, let's go. Hello and welcome to Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren. Last Saturday night at the Fonda Speedway, the Modifieds went 61 laps in honor of C.D. Koval. With Stuart Friesen back in the field last Saturday, could the Canadian sensation pull it together for a win? We'll find out. Start you off at the Track of Champions with some pro stock action. His cousin Luke Horning holding onto the back bumper after getting tagged going up into turn number 1 and 2. He keep a hold of that one, but a drag race to the finish line is Papa J. Casey going to pick up his first win at the Fonda Speedway, and he's definitely happy getting up out of the car. A big win for the 322. Super CD 61 tribute races. It would be Corey Wilder in the 3 machine leading the field to the green. Jesse Mueller going to try to pedal up to the top side right away as Danny Johnson, last week's winner, looking to work his way up past the 816 of Jeff Rockefeller on the inside. As Mueller works into the number 2 spot, getting by Pep Karate and tries to reel in Wilder off with turn number 3 and 4. Mueller going to bring it off of the corner. He'd be your new race leader, and he would start to get away from the field as Ronnie Johnson, Bobby Varon, and Stuart Friesen going at it. Friesen working on the top side, but Varon too strong on the inside lane in the early going as he's already made his way up to Pep Karate. He would slide down to the inside lane again and look to go by him, and he would get that position, then move in past the 3 of Corey Wilder for the spot and set his sights on the 19 of Jesse Mueller off of turn number 4. Meanwhile, it would be the 19 of Mueller trying to hold on to this one as he would be way out in front. But then the 00 of Varon and the 22 of Walters made contact as Brandon Walters goes up into the outside wall. That would bring the caution out with 37 complete on the board. Mueller would go back to the front of this one, but now Stuart Friesen and Bobby Varon looking to go at it. Varon working to the inside. He pedal away from Friesen, now pushes it to the inside, and Mueller pulls the electric slide job on him off by turn number 4, and Bobby Varon would be your new race leader. Mueller not going away, though, as he give him the chrome horn off at turn number 2 as they work their way up into the corner. Friesen and Johnson now going to go at it for position up off at turn number 2. And as they would race their way through the short chute and past the Cow Palace, the 44 of Friesen trying to hold on to that one. But meanwhile, Danny Johnson gets a big move to the inside to go past Jesse Mueller for the runner-up spot down the back straightaway. The Doctor still working with Mueller as they come off the corner. Little bit of contact. That sends Mueller up into the outside wall. He would get a little bit of damage as Friesen would get by him down the back straightaway. And here comes Ronnie Johnson as well, working his way to the inside. Mueller trying to hold on to a top 5 run as Jeremy Wilder now works to the inside lane of him, and now trouble on the 44 of Stuart Friesen as he would slow down the back straightaway as Danny Johnson trying to close in along with Ronnie Johnson on your race leader. These two would go back-to-back trying to fight for position down the backstretch, but they weren't catching Bobby Varon as he goes to 4th on the all-time win list at the Fonda Speedway. Danny Johnson would have to settle for 2nd, Ronnie Johnson 3rd, Jeremy Wilder 4th, and Josh Hohenforst would round out the top 5. The Sand Lake Slingshot Kenny Tremont entered Saturday night's racing 14 points behind Brett Hearn in the chase for the title at Lebanon Valley. Would he be able to strike while the iron was hot on 4th of July weekend? Start you off with some heat race action as Mike Keeler goes up and hard into the outside wall in turn number 1 and 2. A tough break for the driver of the Montanari Fuels, car number 55. 30-lap modified feature event would bring it down the front straightaway as John Rochelle would lead the field to the green, but the early action would be in the form of the 34 of Andy Bacchetti as he's going to rock it to the inside. He'd get by both Berger and Papello already up into the number 3 spot. He grabbed 2nd off by turn number 2 on lap number 2 and set his sights on race leader John Rochelle. And while Rochelle would lead lap number 2, Andy Bacchetti in hot pursuit. He'd make the pass on the inside and he'd be your race leader on lap number 3, going from 6th to 1st. Robbie Pitcher gets into the quarter panel of Matt Papello. That sends him around up in between turn number 3 and 4, as that would bring out the first caution of the feature event. And then some more scrambling as they come off the corner. A little bit of a jumble sends Steve Hoff around. Kyle Sheldon in there as well, along with the 11A of Kyle Armstrong. Brian Berger would get by John Rochelle for the number 2 spot as they work their way into the west end of the speedway. As now Brett Hearn and Kenny Tremont going at it, along with Robbie Pitcher and Kyle Sheldon down the back straightaway as they fight for position. Meanwhile, Brett Hearn working his way past Eddie Marshall, trying to make the move as they move closer to the top 5. As Brett Hearn continuing to work his way up, and now going to set his sights on Robbie Pitcher through the corner as he get by Elmo Reckner, moving into the top 5, trying to get by John Rochelle as well off of turn number 2, as Hearn was on the move in this feature event. The 98 of Eddie Marshall and Guy Sheldon now working right together as they bring it up through turn number 3 and 4, but Andy Bacchetti so far out in front of this one. It's amazing how fast he was, almost a full straightaway advantage over second place Brian Berger, as you see here. Bacchetti will continue to put cars a lap down in this one all the way into the top 10 as Brett Hearn will blow a right rear tire, bringing out the caution with just a handful of laps to go. They would get the new right rear sneaker on the car, and you can see how blistered up that right rear was. Kenny Tremont working to the outside of the 17 of Elmo Reckner, and with as many cars as Bacchetti lapped, Brett Hearn restarted 9th on the field, and it wouldn't take him long with that brand new tire to work his way up to the number 6 spot, as that's where he finished. But you weren't catching Andy Bacchetti in this one, as the Wild Child picks up win number 3 of 2016. Brian Berger would finish in 2nd, Keith Flack would be 3rd, Kenny Tremont 4th, and Elmo Reckner would round out the top 5. It's now time for this week's Kaiser Aluminum Wheels fan poll question of the week. Do you prefer the pit area to be in the infield or outside the track? Log on to facebook.com/RaceProWeekly to cast your answer, and they will be read on next week's show. We have the results from last week's fan poll question, which was sail panels, like them or not. 55% of you said no, while the other 45% said that you like them. Coming up on Race Pro Weekly, we head to the D-shaped Dirt Demon to check in on the thrilling modified action. Then we'll go north of the border to see what's going on at Merrittville. All coming back on RPW. Reputable, reliable, results. That's what you get when you call Rick and the professionals at RCT Roofing. Quality service at fair prices. RCT gets the job done. Just like Nick Stone and the RCT Pro Stock. RCT Roofing, we've got you covered. There's only one place in the Capital Region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there.
I'm Brian from 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is my main man, Tom, and my other main man, Tom.
You never know how much junk you've got until you move.
Point to something you wish would disappear.
Would it be possible to... It's gone!
All you have to do is point.
Where have you been all my life?
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly as we head to Brewerton for some Mod Light action. Here's Doug Williams working it up on the top side, looking to go from 5th to 1st in one lap, and he does make it happen. What a move by Doug Williams, and he would hold on to win this feature event, becoming the new all-time wins leader in the Mod Light division. We head to the modified feature now as Max McLaughlin going to work his way up at turn number 2. He would be your new race leader. Chuck Bauer going to follow to the inside lane, and then he'd move to the outside as he takes the number 2 spot away and set his sights on Mad Max. Bauer would work his way on the outside to take that race lead away down the backstretch, but you know the 6 machine is going to keep coming as trouble on the backstretch. Mike Bowman goes up and over a number of times. And a tough break for the 16 machine as that front end completely mangled, some right rear damage as well as we would get back to racing action. McLaughlin working to the inside of the 99B of Chuck Bauer as they go side by side through turn number 3 and 4. McLaughlin trying to take the lead back from him. He would for the split second, but Chuck Bauer going to switch lanes this time as they race through lap traffic and work his way to the inside once again, and he would be your new race leader down the front straightaway. Bauer looking to work his way back in front as he get through a little bit, but now Robbie Bellinger going to pedal here on the final lap, looking to get by him. Checkered flag would be out. It would be Chuck Bauer grabbing his first win in a long time at the Brewerton Speedway. Robbie Bellinger would finish in second, Max McLaughlin third, Tim Kerr fourth, and Larry White would finish in fifth. Other winners on the night, Sportsman would be Jack Meeks, Doug Williams grabs the win in the Mod Lights, 4 cylinders to Chuck Pawalczyk, and Garrett Bard in the Micro Sprints. There's been a number of different winners at the Merrittville Speedway this season, with many of the veterans already reaching victory lane. Would the story be the same? North of the border we go. As you can see here, Tyler McPherson again going to pilot the 71 that he won with a week ago that Mike Bowman usually drives here. And this one is Todd Gordon would lead the field of the green in the number 28 machine. And cars going to go around quick through turn number 1 and 2. As a number of cars, Brockman involved, Eric Rudolph involved, Mike Bowman as well. And off of the restart, it would be the 15 of Tim Jones going to power to the top side. He'd be your race leader early in this one. Easy click off lap number 1 out in the front. Ryan Susie working his way to the inside, trying to get by Todd Gordon as Gordon bobbles off at turn number 2. That would put Susie into the number 2 spot as cars start to work their way up. Scott Wood and Fast Freddie Carlton going side by side as they try to get by Tommy Flanagan. And here comes Pete Bicknell as he works his way up on the inside of turn number 4 as Mr. Small Block trying to make his way up into the front early. Chris Steele, Eric Rudolph, and Mike Bowman working their way up through the field trying to get back to the front, but the battle was at the front of the field as Tim Jones and Ryan Susie continue to go at it way out in front in this one, as now Pete Bicknell working to the inside of Fast Freddie Carlton. He'll have to try to switch lanes again as Flanagan and Gordon go at it. Meanwhile, Bowman would have trouble as he would smack the outside retaining wall down on the front straightaway. Off of the restart, keep an eye on Ryan Susie here as he'd make a move to the inside lane, trying to dive bomb to get by the 15 of Tim Jones, but Jones off the cushion, very strong in this one, as Susie giving him everything he can handle up through turn number 1 and 2. He tried to slide up in front of him, but Tim Jones just too strong on the outside lane. Jones looking for his first win in the small block modifieds as Todd Gordon and Pete Bicknell go side by side for the spot through turn number 3 and 4. Delario and Rudolph still fighting for position down the back straightaway as well in this one. But Tim Jones continuing to lead with pressure from Susie as the track continues to slicken up. Jones way out in front of this one would say see you later to the rest of the field as he grabs win number 1. Ryan Susie would finish in second. Pete Bicknell would be third. Tommy Flanagan fourth. And Eric Rudolph would be fifth. Cody McPherson would grab the win in the Sportsman. Novice Sportsman held over feature would be Justin McKay. And Trevor Wright would grab the win in the regularly scheduled Novice Sportsman event. Hoosier Stocks would go to Pete Reed. Mod Lights to Rob Meisner. And Tony Kelly grabbing the win in the 4 cylinders. When we return, we head to Can-Am to see if anybody can beat Billy Dunn. And while Bobby Varon took home the modified feature, we'll check in at Checkerboard Square to see who reached it in a Sportsman.
If you're like me, your to-do list never ends. But with just one phone call, I protect my home, family, pets, and yard all year round. With Northeast Pest Control's Premier Home Protection Program, I don't have to worry about bugs and pests, and I don't have to worry about harsh chemicals either. Now, how about that want to-do list? Thanks, Northeast Pest Control.
Ants, termites, mice, or bees. Call today for your free estimate.
With Northeast Pest Control, we guarantee you'll live pest-free.
Looking for outstanding service for your car, truck, or SUV? Speed's Garage is a family-run business providing the highest quality of auto care. From routine maintenance, brakes, engine, body, or paint work, you can trust the professionals at Speed's Garage. Speed's Garage has all the auto service you need, plus full towing for any vehicle. For championship service, go to Speed's Garage in Mellonville.
Performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices? That's DMC. DMC Racing Products. Race to win. Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. We'll see if anybody can beat the machine gun Billy Dunn as the green flag would fly with Craig Collier up at the front of the field as he would work his way down the back straightaway. Josh Van Bronklin already moving into the number 2 spot. Keith Weston up there as well as they'd fight their way through turn number 3 and 4, but already on the move would be Billy Dunn. Ryan Bartlett and Lance Willix trying to push their way up through the field as well as Van Bronklin with the race lead. Collier relegated back to the number 2 spot, and here comes Billy Dunn working his way on the inside lane. He would get by Collier for the number 2 spot and set his sights on Josh Van Bronklin now as Dunn works his way to the inside trying to take that spot away. He would get it off at turn number 2 as Billy Dunn on his way to try to pick up another feature event victory. Cars moving up through the field behind him as Lance Willix working his way down past Tyler Bartlett with Nick Webb right there with him as they're side-by-side for position. Riley Gill trying to get by Josh Van Bronklin as well off of turn number 2 as they go down the back stretch. Meanwhile, it would be Riley Gill pushing up to the top side. That's going to allow Lance Willix to dive underneath him and take the position away. But up at the front of this one, there was no stopping Billy Dunn as he gets it done again at Can-Am. Josh Van Bronklin would finish in second, Lance Willix would be third, Riley Gill fourth, and Brady Gill would round out the top 5. Back to the Track of Champions we go now for some sprint car action. Corey Sparks working it up on the outside lane here, trying to get by Dustin Purdy for the CRSA Sprint Car Feature event. He'd bring it off at turn number 3 and 4 and pick up the victory. Sportsman action now would see Brian Pesolano lead the field to the green, as we would see who would take Sportsman supremacy up at the Track of Champions this time, as cars working their way up through the field in the early going of this one, as it would be Pesolano with the lead, but cars getting together in turn number 3 and 4. Jack Laner, Ricky Quick, Tim Hartman Jr., and Cody Clark involved. Cody Clark with a ton of damage on the number 4 machine as he would be towed off the racing surface. Off of the restart, the 23 of Johnny the Blade McAuliffe working with Chris Schaefer down the back straightaway as they split Jamike Soul. Rocky Warner working it up on the top side, as well as now Chad Edwards looking to try to run down Pesolano for the race lead as they continue to work their way up through the field. Adam McCullough going to move up a position right now into turn number 3 and 4. Here's Rocky Warner working to the outside lane with Connor Cleveland as they would both split the 54 of Curtis Hohenscheld off at turn number 2 as the 09 of Cleveland would slide in front of him down the back straightaway. Meanwhile, it would be Pesolano bringing it down the front stretch, 3 cars separating first and second. Chad Edwards working to the inside lane now as they would go by the 7 of Chris Ronca with the lunchbox trying to catch him as they bring him through turn number 3 and 4. Meanwhile, the battle between Cleveland and Warner, the top 2 in the point standings in the Sportsman, still working down the backstretch, but back to the battle for the lead. Lap traffic may become a factor before this one's said and done as Mark Mortensen starting to pedal right behind him. Then Pesolano opens the door for Edwards, who gets a big run down in front of the Cow Palace off at turn number 4, and Chad Edwards would be your new race leader, but it wouldn't be done so fast as the 24 of Pesolano works his way to the inside of Brian Calabrese. They'd split him going down through turn number 3 and 4, and then Edwards would regain traction as they look to work around the 35 of Chris Curtis. Pesolano knows his back out in front. Here comes Edwards back behind him to take the race lead away once again. Mark Mortensen in a fight with Johnny the Blade McAuliffe coming down the front straightaway for that number 3 spot. As Mortensen working it up on the top side, he grabbed that away, and then Jamike Soul going to come back on the inside lane. He'd get by McAuliffe for position. Pesolano working his way trying to get by Mortensen, but then here comes McAuliffe back looking for the number 3 spot on Mortensen down the back straightaway as they're side by side. But they weren't catching Chad Edwards in this one as he picks up the win, the Sportsman feature at Fonda. Second would be Pesolano, third John McAuliffe, fourth Mark Mortensen. Rounding out your top 5 would be Jamike Soul. Other winners on the night, as you saw earlier, Pro Stock's going to go to Jay Casey. CRSA Sprints to Corey Sparks. Rookie Sportsman to Travis Billington. And Josh Coonrad again with a Street Stock victory. Coming up later this year, Dave Whitney and Whitney Productions have teamed up with Keith Flack Racing to bring you a documentary you won't want to miss on the Flack family. When we come back, we'll return to the Valley of Speed for some full-fendered action and then give out our NISCA Performer of the Week. It's all coming up next on Race Pro Weekly.
Out here, seconds mean everything. That's why, in here, we work so hard to shave them. When a second matters, science matters. Mobil 1, energy lives here.
Where is it that going green is going strong? Where trees are planted so emissions can be cut down. Where clean ethanol blend fuels race cars and waste oil never goes to waste. Where is it that the sun comes up and we put it to work, and the passionate fans are just as passionate about helping out? Where? Nowhere but NASCAR. Learn what small steps you can take to make a big difference at NASCAR.com/green.
If you are a tracker series that would like to be highlighted on Race Pro Weekly, email us at show@raceproweekly.com.
Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. Some Lebanon Valley Pure Stock action as Scott Morris goes up and over with a barrel roll. Scott would be okay, but a couple other cars I cannot say the same for up in between turn number 1 and 2. Green flag would come out on the speedway for the Pro Stock feature event as the Wild Twing. Frank Twing would be at the front of this one as he would ride up on the top side, working his way up through turn number 1 and 2. Meanwhile, cars would scatter down the back straightaway looking to fight for position as they make their way through turn number 3 and 4. Meanwhile, Paul Rochelle goes around. Chad Arsenault involved, and Victor Hopkins making evasive action to the inside. That would restack the field once again as Twing would go back to the outside with La Rochelle right to the inside lane as they fight for position. Here's Ray Hall Jr. looking for the number 2 spot as Nick Hill gets a little out of shape up in turn number 3 and 4. Meanwhile, another car up into the outside wall. That's the 23 of Chuck Townsley as he would make it back out onto the racetrack with minimal damage. Frank Twing would bring it off the restart as a little bumper tag at the back as LaFlamme gets a little out of shape, and that would send Paul La Rochelle to losing his front end right on the racetrack, and he's going to bring it back into the pit area. A tough break for the veteran campaigner. It would be Twing back at the helm of this feature event as Ricky Duzlak looking to work his way up through the field. Last week's winner along with the 7 of Rob Yetman as Yetman already into the top 5 as he drag races down the front straightaway. Jay Corbin also on the move as he works to the inside trying to get by the 243 of Victor Hopkins down the back stretch as the caution will come out for the 39 of Matt Cross on the inside of turn number 4. Another restart here in this one is now John Ruthier working to the inside of Frank Twing, and this is when things got crazy as a number of cars up in turn number 1 together. Joe LaFlamme involved, Nick Stone involved as well, along with a number of other cars. Rick Dempsey, Rick Duzlak in there as well, as that would bring out the caution and restack the field. Frank Twing would continue to lead this one out in the front. Sitting in second would be John Ruthier, but now take a look at this 4-car battle for the race lead. Rob Yetman working to the inside of the 315 of John Ruthier off of turn number 4. Corbin trying to come with him down the front straightaway. He'd get that. Now the battle for the lead as Yetman makes his way up through turn number 3 and 4 and pulls the slide job on him as Yetman would be your new leader. Fast forward to the last lap, though. Jay Corbin works to the inside. They make a little bit of contact in turn number 2. That would put Corbin to the race lead down the back straightaway, and Jay Corbin would hold on to pick up the Pro Stock feature event. Yetman would finish in second. Frank Twing would be third. John Ruthier fourth, and Steve La Rochelle would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Kenny Tremont again in the 358 Modifieds. Pure Stock number 1 will go to the Sherman tank. Phil Sherman, 2 for 2 on the season. Zach Sorrentino, first career win in the Pure Stocks. In Pure Stock number 2, Pure Stock 3 will go to Al Relier. 4-cylinder single cam to Tim Melton. PJ Blue picking up the win in the dual cam. Back to Can-Am we go for some sports bin action as it would be the 415 of Andrew Wren leading the field to the green in this feature event. Cars working their way down the back straightaway, including the 91 of Josh Rayom. The 12 of Troy Fleming and the 21 of point leader Taylor Caprera as now racing your way up into turn number 1 and 2. Here's Zach Sabaka looking on the outside of Tiger Chapman Jr., but Chapman going to hold on to the race lead on the inside. Meanwhile, Rayom and Caprera looking to work their way up through the field as they keep it going on the inside lane through the corner. As Caprera has trouble going in through turn number 3 and 4 as he loses power down into the corner. And then as they come off of turn number 4 on the restart, here's going to be a big wreck as the 91 of Rayom goes up and over a number of cars also involved in turn number 4. Off the restart, Tiger Chapman Jr. still right there. Zabaka on the outside. Dave Rogers lurking right behind them as the top 3 start to break away from the field a little bit as the cars start pushing their way back up through the field in this feature event here at the Can-Am Speedway. As the caution will come out once again, that would re-rack the field with Chapman back at the front. But here's Dave Rogers going to work his way up on the outside lane, looking to take the race lead away. He'd get it off at turn number 2 and pull out by about 4 car lengths down the front straightaway. Rogers would have this one. Sabaka working into looking to keep the number 2 spot and get by Chapman for position as Dave Rogers would go on to pick up the win in the Sportsman Modified feature event. Tiger Chapman would finish in second, Zach Sabaka third, Brian Hudson fourth, and Delbert LeGros would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Pro Street would go to Sean Kirby, Mike Gadball, and the Novice Sportsman. Mod Lights would go to Harley Brown, Thundercar to Lyle Robinson, Chris Ketch would grab the win in Vintage Modified feature number 1, and in Vintage Modified feature number 2, it would go to Paul Billings. It's now time for this week's NISCA Performer of the Week, and with his big win at the Brewerton Speedway, it goes to the driver of the 99, Chuck Bauer. Bauer is now eligible for the Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online at www.raceproweekly.com and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So for myself, Bobby Chalmers, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, Amber Chalmers, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.